Welcome to Don't IEP Alone, the only podcast dedicated to helping parents navigate the IEP process and hosted by a special education advocate. Your host has been attending IEP meetings for over a decade and has helped thousands of parents go from an IEP rookie to an IEP all-star. Be prepared to learn tips that will be a total game changer for you as a parent advocate and, most importantly, your child's outcomes. Partnered with the award-winning Blog a Day in Our Shoes, you'll be confident, knowledgeable, and actually looking forward to your next IEP meeting. Don't IEP alone. Get ready. Here's your host, from suburban Philadelphia, Lisa Leitner.
Okay, great. I hope everyone's here and tuning in. I have new software that I'm using, so hopefully it's working. It appears to be. I'm sorry that there's a reflection on my glasses. I can't read without them. And when I flip it around, you need the sunlight on my face, or that's not really sunlight, but I need the daylight on my face, or you can't see me. I had my desk flip. I actually moved my entire desk around because usually I have a light at my back, and when I do that, you really can't see me at all. It's very dark, so I flipped it around, and that's my dog moving around back there. So just going to give people a few minutes to tune in. It's 1:01. We're going to talk about PWN today. And if you have any questions, I should know this. I should know where you can put them, which we will figure out with this new software. Where you can actually, let me look. I just pulled my hair with my glasses. Let me look at the page and see what this looks like. Hopefully I won't get too much feedback. I still feel like we love to watch that show, The Goldbergs, and if you watch it, you know that they often flash back to Erica as a teen with braces, and I really feel like I talk like her in those flashbacks. But oh, look, there I am. So it's working. Okay. So it looks like you can just comment underneath the live. It's still working. So I will try to get those questions answered. I will give priority to questions about PWN and how to use it and all that fun stuff. So let's get back to PWN and understanding what PWN is. I'm seeing a lot of common themes in the group and with the questions I get asked over email. And a lot of them can really be solved with PWN because a lot of it goes back to, hey, I asked for this and it didn't happen. Or, how do I get my team to add something to an IEP? And PWN is great. So let me try. This is my new software, so I hope that it works. Come on. Okay, here we go. Yay, hopefully you can see this, right? This is directly from IDEA procedural safeguards and their copy of the federal writing of procedural safeguards. Your state will also have their own version of procedural safeguards, and you can just Google, your state's name and IEP procedural safeguards, and you should find them. So this is what prior written notice, or PWN, is. Know that different states, like mine, some states call it something different. My state calls it a NOREP, NOREP, for Notice of Recommended Educational Placement. Other states just have weird, I don't know why they do that, they just do. But other states have different names for it. It's also not every state has a separate form for PWN. Some states have it built into the IEP, and the final copy, the final draft of the IEP is considered your PWN. So you have to get clear on how your state specifically handles the PWN. You can't see it. Someone said they can't see it, and someone said it is working. Get clear on how your state specifically handles PWN, if they do it as part of the IEP, if they do a separate form, and so on. But this is the definition of what it is and what it must include. Your school district must give you written notice, and they even put in parentheses, they must provide you certain information in writing within a reasonable amount of time. Now, there's that word reasonable again. It shows up in IDEA and state regs a lot. Most states have defined reasonable to be anywhere from 10 to 30 days, depending on the issue. Some states have specifically defined it, others have not, but it says within a reasonable amount of time before it proposes to initiate or to change the identification, so that would mean the category, evaluation, or educational placement of your child, or the provision of FAPE. So that basically means any change to the IEP, or if it refuses to initiate or change any part of FAPE. So basically what this says is that if the school wants to change the IEP, or if they are refusing to make a change to the IEP that you've asked for, they must provide you written notice. Okay, give me a minute to digest that. So this can be very powerful, and this is why I spend half my life just saying, write it down, write it down, write it down. You have to provide your paper trail. You have to provide your documentation of what you've asked for. And I have on the blog lots of templates for parent concern letters and how to write them. But this is why you have to write your parent concern letters. If you're asking for more evaluations, if you're asking for different or more supports and services, it has to be done in writing. Okay, that's the first step of PWN if you're going to ask for something. They can't refuse to do it until you ask for it. And asking for it doesn't mean casually mentioning it, during pickup or drop off time or something like that. It has to be in writing. So the written notice must include, it must describe the action that your school district is either proposing or refusing to take. So if they are proposing to either say withdraw an IEP or reduce services or eliminate some services from the IEP, they have to describe that. They have to describe the action fully. And I'm going to get to a form in a minute on a different screen, okay? They must explain why they are making this change or refusing to take the action that you've requested. They must also describe how they came to this conclusion. So what evals did they do? What assessments? What data did they use to come to this decision? Okay, I hope that for some of you, light bulbs are starting to go off and you're starting to understand how powerful the PWN can be. Okay, they must also include to you, if they're going to refuse to do something or they want to make a change to the IEP that you don't agree with, they have to include your protections under procedural safeguards. They have to remind you once again of your procedural safeguards. So please, please, please read the booklet. You will find PWN in there, but please read it. They will explain to you where to find a copy of your procedural safeguards. They must also include resources for you to help you understand IDEA. Remember, I have a list, again, I have a list on the site. Every state has a protection and advocacy center or organization for disabilities, and every state has a parent training center. And that information should be provided to you. Of course, you can go Google it right now, or when you're done with this, when we're done with this chat, you can Google it, but your school should be providing you that information. And then they must include any other options that they considered and describe why they want to make this change or why they are refusing to make this change that you're asking for. Okay. I find that it's really easy for teams to sit in an IEP meeting and parent is outnumbered, 5 to 1, 10 to 1. I've honestly been in IEP meetings with 22. That's, I think, my largest was 22 school staff members, and it was myself and both parents. So I sat there in a 22 to 3 meeting. They seriously had us in a classroom. It was so big, it was ridiculous. But they had never had an advocate come to a meeting before, and they heard I was coming, and they like, well, I had her in 3rd grade. It was a high school meeting. I was her band leader in 7th grade, and I know this about the child. They obviously were trying to intimidate us, but it's very easy to sit in a meeting when you have numbers on your side and strength in numbers. It's very easy to sit there and say, no, we're not going to be adding that. No, we're not going to do that. It's much more difficult if they don't have the data to support that decision. It is much more difficult to put that in writing on a PWN. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to a different tab. Again, this is from, I hope you can see it. This is from Pennsylvania, but it applies to, except for the last part where it talks about the actual NORIP. This is explaining just in language, when is a PWN required? And you can see up here, hopefully you can see my little cursor here. This is the section of IDEA, where if you want to copy that down and Google it, it will come up. This is when the LEA, and that's the person who is designated to represent the district, this is when they are required to provide you notice, PWN. The LEA, which is the entity responsible for providing FAPE, they must notify you in writing whenever, again, they are proposing to change any part of FAPE. And that's really any part. It's the classification category, it's goals, it's placement, it's supports and services, it's anything. Any change they want to make, they have to provide you a PWN. And again, any refusal to initiate or change any provision of FAPE. Okay, the provision of FAPE is basically the IEP in its entirety. So anytime they want to change it or anytime they're refusing to change it. You also should receive a PWN if there's ever a change of placement for disciplinary reasons. they have to provide you a PWN if they are filing for due process. They need to provide you with a PWN. They must provide you with a PWN if they are disagreeing. You've asked for an independent eval. Okay, you didn't agree with their evals, or for whatever reason. Again, I have a whole blog post explaining how and when to ask for an IEE. But if you ask for an IEE, which you've done in writing, and they're saying no, they're going to provide you a PWN. Okay, and this isn't a very common one. Most of the time I find parents fighting for services, not fighting to be relieved of special ed services. But if you can, at any time, you can revoke your consent for special ed. And if you do a request for that, a written request that your child will no longer have an IEP, they must provide you a PWN. Okay. So again, you want something removed from your IEP, you want something added to your IEP, you know, make sure that you have the data for this request first, collect that, gather that, do your request in writing, support it with your data, and then you get that response on a PWN. Okay. I find a lot of times parents have these concerns. They bring them to the meeting. They, step out of your comfort zone. I know it's not natural for everyone to be assertive and to confront people with difficult topics. That's just something you're going to have to get over. But you finally get up the courage and you are assertive and you ask for these things. And you most likely, it's not a firm no, it's not a no, we're not going to do that. It's a, well, let's wait and see. Well, how about we discuss that in 6 months? Or let's get through this marking period and then we'll revisit that issue. And you know what happens? It fades away. Nothing ever happens. Okay, so you're going to have to start asking for a PWN. Okay, the last thing I want to show you as part of this is, and these are all on the blog too. Under the blog post for PWN, I have all these screenshots and forms. This is actually a PDF that you can download and look at yourself. This is basically, you can see down here, this is the U.S. Department of Ed form. This is their model form. It's pretty generic, but at the same time, it has a lot of great stuff in it because basically the U.S. Department of Ed, this is from OSERS and OSEP, they're saying this is what a PWN form should look like. And the school should provide you with some type of form in which all of these boxes are filled out. Okay, and it's really, it's really great stuff. And remember that this is from IDEA 2004 is when PWN got added to IDEA. And this was a long and hard fought battle by parents and advocates who really, I don't know how else to say it, they fought long and hard to have this added to the IDEA reauth. Okay, this was not easy. Obviously, a lot of the lobbying groups on behalf of some organizations fought against this, but it took parent advocates and special ed attorneys and parent attorneys and things like that and the different lobbying groups to say no. Parents deserve a voice in this process, and it wasn't being heard or acknowledged. Okay. So you can see the boxes here that, again, this is a blank form from the Department of Ed. You should receive something similar, and it should be in your IEP or a separate form elsewhere that answers all of these questions. Okay. What is the item that we're talking about that they're not adding or that they want to change that you don't want changed? Maybe you do want it. I mean, maybe they're going to agree to it. You know, this isn't always just for disputes. It's unfortunate, but sometimes parents get a verbal yes in an IEP meeting, and then the final IEP that you get is not the one that you're expecting, and that supporter service is in there, and all of a sudden no one remembers talking about it. Okay. So you want this to also seal the deal for the things that you're getting that you want. But the district has to explain, why are they doing this? Why are they refusing to do it? How did they get there? What evals and assessments did they use? What else did they consider? Okay, if you're asking for a one-on-one and they're refusing to add it at this time, what else was considered? Or you want a more restrictive placement, you want a least restrictive placement. What did they consider to get your child there? What else was tried, or what else was discussed and deemed not worthy of trying? Okay, why are they refusing to take action? Where can you find your procedural safeguards, and what are some other resources for parents to help you understand IDEA? If nothing else, your state parent training center should be in this part, and your state's protection and advocacy agency should be on this part. Okay. Again, this is from the Department of Ed. This is from OSEP and OSERS, and they're even saying you can use this, you can adopt this form, or you can construct a different form. But you must be provided this notice. And look at this one, in understandable language. That's huge too. And this is any provision of FAPE. It's anything. If they refuse to do evals, they have to provide you PWN. If they refuse to do an FBA, they have to provide a PWN. Okay. Why are you still looking at me and not the form? Oh well. They have to provide. Stop. Okay, are you still there? Good. Okay, back to me, which is great. I'm going to go look at questions now to see if I can answer your questions. Where did it go? Stop that one. No, I hope you can still hear me. Can you still hear me? No? Oh, Lordy. I will learn the software, I promise. Oh, good. There we go. Okay, so here are the questions. Can you all hear me, I hope? It's working. We can't see your screen, can't see your screen. Some say they can see me, but we can see, all right. So some could see you, some could not. So I'm sorry about that. I will share the link underneath. So someone asked, is this just for the USA? Yes, this is, PWN is something that is a provision of IDEA. So yes, it's only for USA. The the American process is overwhelming enough, and I don't, I can't learn the other countries. Sorry. Please state clearly on your blog where these are found. I can hear you now. A split screen with you and a. Come on, I'm so annoyed. So where is? me turn that off. And where did it go? Add media. So share screen, sorry. Chrome tab. And there's the model form from IDEA. Can you see that? Hopefully. And now I know that I talk fast, and it even says to me that this tab is using your camera and microphone, so it should be. Okay, I did see a question. What if they don't give you a PWN? Yes, thank you. I did have that here on my little sticky note of important points to talk about. And one is if they don't issue a PWN, and the other is incomplete PWNs, incorrect PWNs. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff along those lines. Then it comes down to filing a state complaint or an OCR complaint, which isn't ideal. I know that they're time consuming. I know that they don't carry a lot of weight. I've filed several state complaints, and they're not much more than a slap on the wrist. Some schools are still really afraid of them, and they don't like to have parents file complaints. Others don't care because they've just gotten savvy and they know that not much is going to be done. But if they refuse to file, and again, it's all about your paper trail. It's all about your paper trail, your documentation, and you want to have proof that this has been discussed. That's why I always recommend that you do an after IEP meeting letter, and that you, after the IEP meeting, you do a quick follow-up, just quick go home and do a brain dump and just do a bullet point of, hey, I know we had a lot talked about today. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that I understood everything correctly, and then just boom, 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 do bullet points of everything that you discussed. That way, if they don't refute that email, then it stands as truth, and it kind of ensures that the IEP that you receive is the IEP that you're expecting. And again, once it's in writing, it's kind of hard for them to say, well, no, that's not really what we discussed. If they promise you a one-on-one in the meeting, and they say, yeah, that, finally the team agrees that, yeah, you're going to change placement, or yeah, you're going to get a one-on-one, you definitely want to follow that up in writing, so that they don't backpedal on that. When would you file a state versus an OCR complaint? State complaints are more for compliance issues and like timeline and deadline issues. So if your evals weren't completed in a timely manner, or they're completely ignoring your annual IEP renewal date, if they are refusing to issue a PWN, that's a compliance issue. An OCR complaint is more about civil rights and denial of FAPE. So they can go hand in hand, because a compliance issues can be a denial of FAPE, but not always. I didn't even get a copy of my IEP. It's implemented and I'm happy. Well, I don't, again, have the data and, keep asking for it. It exists. If they're following it, it exists. But, if they're not going to provide you a copy, then that's kind of a compliance issue. I can hear you. I'm sorry. I'll post a link on the Facebook page to the post and the screenshots in the PDF. So, okay. I'm looking for, sorry, I'm giving priority to the PWN questions. So, I will be doing another Facebook Live on the 23rd, so that's in a little over a week. So I will be answering general IEP questions then. That's just like a live chat to discuss IEP issues. My daughter's school claimed this week that sending me the notices or a document they were supposed to do to add services is prior written notice and they don't need it. But that's not true because I asked for what really does constitute PWN. I would have to know your state, first of all. And again, I will post the link to, actually, let me go do that right now. Because I know right where to find it. As long as they answer those essential questions that are on a PWN, as long as they answer them somewhere for some states, that is sufficient. They don't have to do a separate form. So here is, oh, how did I not do that? So here is, let me go to the Facebook page. Come on. Why is my internet so slow? I'm even like hardwired to the internet today. I didn't trust Wi-Fi, so I plugged myself in to this. Okay, so I'm going to go to edit post. Oh, please let me edit it. You're not going to let me edit it? Okay, I'm going to edit post. I'm just adding right now the link to the model form, which is a PDF. Oh, come on, where did it go? And then, hold on one second. And then there's a booklet from, this is a good booklet. You want to double check, this state. Most of it applies. It's from, the booklet itself is from the state of Virginia. So you want to double check with your state to make sure that everything, come on. Why is my internet so slow today? Oh my gosh. It's from the booklet is from the state of Virginia, so you want to make sure that it applies to you. But for the most part, it's a great, there we go, saving. Okay, so there are the two links. Hopefully they're showing up now. That second one, the booklet is from the state of Virginia, so you want to double check it. But for the most part, it all applies, and they have a great, it's just a great booklet. It gives all these examples of when prior written notice is required and things like that. So it's just a great booklet. I love it. I couldn't find one for my state. Excuse me. So, okay. So I think that's it. Again, this is a great tool if you learn how to use it. I am finding that as parents get more savvy, that the crappy districts are also getting more savvy, and you know, they're just engaging in more gaslighting, I guess, more than anything else, which is annoying. So so that's it. Thanks for tuning in. If you have general IEP questions, I will get to those on the 23rd. So please tune in then. Thank you, Misty, for adding that. And I have the 2 links up there. So make sure that I got all the PWN questions. What constitutes PWN in California? That I'm not sure. And California is one of those crazy states who has a lot of weird specificities. Is that the word I want? California has a lot of weird things. So in the group, you can ask that, and maybe Hadassah will jump in. She and Monica are both from Southern California, so they know a lot about the state. It's also important to remember that when it comes to state and federal regs, that a state can have different regs for special ed, but they have to be more beneficial to the student. It has to be like more than IDEA. It cannot be less than IDEA. So for example, in my state, all students get reevaluated every 3 years. In my state, if you have an intellectual disability, you get evaluated every 2 years. So that's more beneficial to the student. They can't create a statute that says, well, we're only going to evaluate you every 5 years. And it can't be less than IDEA. It has to be more or better for the student than IDEA. So keep that in mind when you are looking at your state regs, that, again, they can't be less than IDEA. So, all right, I do have to go to a meeting across town at 2:00. So luckily I live in a small town. It won't take me long to get there, but thank you. I hope this helped. And if you have any other questions, there's a group attached to the page, and make sure you ask in there. Thanks, and have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thanks for listening to the Don't IEP Alone podcast. No parent should have to IEP alone. And with A Day in Our Shoes, you don't have to. For more IEP assistance and letter templates, visit adayinourshoes.com. For ongoing assistance and support, follow our Facebook page and group.
Me, I could fly up to the sky. Every day I'm on my road, but today is the day. way. It's go my way. It's go my way.